You don't often see a higher ed institution align its physical infrastructure, its campus master plan, around a focused brand differentiator, to literally set its vision in stone. But this week, I'm going to show you a university that has really put its money where its mouth is, literally moving mountains to build communities. Welcome back to 10 with Ken. I'm Ken Steele. Last week, we looked at the ways in which Simon Fraser University's engagement strategy has been embraced by people across the institution, and how it's helped reinforce efforts at community-based research, cultural engagement, public speaking, and even April Fool's videos. If you missed it, take a moment now to go back and watch it. But you know, the really impressive thing about SFU is their concrete commitment to engagement. The way in which their physical campuses quite literally build communities in Vancouver, Burnaby, and Surrey. Let me show you what I mean. Even though SFU has no astronomy department, it has constructed an observatory on its Burnaby Mountain campus as an outreach initiative. Howard Trottier is an SFU Physics professor, founder of the Starry Nights stargazing program, and his family contributed to the Trottier Observatory and Studio for Innovative Science Education.
So here we are. So Starry Nights has been running for about 10 years. Once or twice a month, we'll have a public night on a Friday, and we'll get 200 to 300 people easily. And that, over time, built enough support from the university that they gave us this fabulous location to install this permanent facility. The observatory is the anchor of a site, we call it Science Courtyard. And this site is filled with architectural elements, big and small, landscaping, all of it designed to communicate something about the science of astronomy and the beauty of the night sky. I mean, SFU is I think, a very unusual university to the extent that how seriously it takes community engagement. And so I think, in a sense, this is a flagship facility on the university which is meant for that type of community engagement.
We'll take an in-depth look at the Science Plaza and talk with some volunteers in an episode later this year. In its commitment to community engagement, SFU moved off its mountaintop to open a major campus in a Vancouver suburb. SFU President and Vice Chancellor Andrew Petter took me for a tour.
This is Simon Fraser University's Surrey campus. The idea of having the university here resulted in the municipality deciding to rezone this area, understanding that the university had the potential to drive a whole redevelopment of what was a suburb and turn it into what is now becoming, that is, a metropolitan core for Surrey and for Metro Vancouver.
Joanne Curry is the VP of External Relations at SFU, responsible for the community engagement strategy. And for 12 years, she led the development of the Surrey campus.
So right from the beginning, we had a very shared purpose of how do you make a great city center pretty much from scratch.
The building we're in right now is the original Central City facility that Bing Thom designed that brought together a university with a shopping center with an office tower. And that concept, that mixed-use concept, which is sometimes referred to as Vancouverism, actually really maps well onto Simon Fraser's mixed-use concept, which is to take an academy and a community and take the energy of both and make them work to mutual benefit. Partnership has been the way we've gone about building this campus, and that in turn I think has informed the energy and the vision of the entire university.
But the Surrey campus wasn't SFU's first foray into downtown revitalization.
Universities can be and should be a platform for community betterment in many different ways. We now have 3 campuses in BC's 3 largest municipalities, the largest presence in downtown Vancouver.
SFU's downtown Vancouver facilities include the Segal Graduate School of Business, the Radius Social Innovation Incubator, the Harbour Centre, and the Centre for Dialogue, a remarkable symbol of a commitment to engagement. Shauna Sylvester is director of the SFU Centre for Dialogue.
So the Centre for Dialogue has been around since 2000. It is both a purpose-built center. So we have a beautiful building. It used to be an old bank, and that has been transformed into a space where real dialogue can happen. Dialogue is different than debate. And so the ways in which the rooms are constructed, the breakout spaces, our beautiful Asia Pacific Hall, are set up to enable people to talk together as equals. There's no other center like this in the world. SFU is unique.
In the heart of Vancouver's downtown east side, SFU constructed a new School for Contemporary Arts. Howard Jang is director of the cultural unit there.
That work. Woodbridge, as many of us know who were born and lived in Vancouver, was this iconic department store that really was the center of the city in so many ways. I remember coming here as a young child. The Woodward's development to it was a vision of Michael Stevenson, who was the then president of SFU, and Michael really felt it was important for the university to establish a presence, not just downtown, but probably in this particular very special district of the downtown east side, a region and district that had within itself a lot of social histories and issues that were embedded with it for so many generations.
Am Johal is the director of SFU's Van City Office of Community Engagement.
This is a place of social and political tension, but we don't run away from that. We bring it into the institution, and I think it makes for a livelier, more interesting conversation where we're talking about really important things. And I think that's been our value to the city, to be here to help bring those types of conversations into public view.
Through music and through culture and through the arts, we're finding ways to actually build relationships with organizations and people that have normally ever have a way to work together.
One of the values of bringing these people together is that they're starting to partner with each other that has nothing to do with us.
Am believes that SFU really does put community engagement first.
Ultimately, if a community engagement program at any institution, no matter which city it's in, it needs that sort of interaction between teaching, research, and community engagement. I think oftentimes at SFU, we've started with the communities in mind and then pointed back at these other missions of the university, and that's, I think, created really long-standing, trusting relationships.
But perhaps the most remarkable example of SFU's community building is taking place back up on Burnaby Mountain.
Many universities in Canada do build satellite campuses in urban centers as a means of engaging their communities at some level. But I think it may be unique for Simon Fraser to be constructing a community around its Burnaby Mountain campus, University. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, you know, Simon Fraser University was originally placed on top of a mountain about as far away from the community as it could be. But one thing about Simon Fraser is it's never done what it's been told to do by others. There's always been a spirit of activism and energy about Simon Fraser University, and so my predecessors had the brilliant idea of taking what was a land grant over much of the mountain and could have resulted in a sprawl of development, and saying to the municipality, allow us to transfer the density from that land grant onto a much smaller parcel on top of the mountain.
Gordon Harris is the president and CEO of SFU Community Trust, who oversees the University development.
So we're about 65 acres. We're going to have between 9,000 and 9,500 people. So we have a grocery store, 23,000 square foot Nestor's grocery store, pharmacy, deli, post office. We have Starbucks, we have Tim Hortons about to open. And so while we're in a relatively isolated location in a suburban community adjacent to Vancouver, we are in fact a complete and walkable community.
So University serves a number of functions. It brings life to the university, it brings revenue to the university, it provides housing for people not only from the university but from the broader community, it models sustainability, and it's on its way to becoming a very important part of Burnaby as well, and an important part of our commitment to be an engaged university.
I think University is one of the most unique things about SFU, and there's a lot more to say about it. We'll be coming back to it in a future episode. So that is what it can look like when a university commits its infrastructure to community building. There is a lot more to share from my visit in future episodes, including more details about the University development, the Radius Social Innovation Lab and Incubator, and the Center for Dialogue. To be sure you don't miss them, take a moment now to join more than 13,000 10 with Ken subscribers and followers on any of a dozen platforms. Whether you're interested in higher ed branding, innovations, teaching technologies, or social media, I hope you'll take a minute to check out some other episodes of 10 with Ken on our channel. Once again, I want to thank SFU for bringing me to campus, and especially thank Kurt, Winyi, and Gabe for tolerating me for 2 straight days. Thanks for watching. Even though SFU has no astronomy department,
Don't know what my question was, though.
Even though SFU has no astronomy department, I had that sentence worked out in my head. The Radius Innovation Social Innovation Lab and Incubator, or something.